Well, thanks for checking out Convincing Proof today. What I want to talk about here is the idea of legislating morality. Now, this has been coming up a lot lately, and it often comes up in the context of liberals and conservatives maybe talking in the political realm about what laws should be passed or not passed. And what we're accused of often, we conservatives, we're accused often of trying to legislate morality. And we're told that you can't legislate morality or that you shouldn't legislate morality. So I want to unpack that a little bit because I think there's a bit of rhetoric going on here and just a little bit of poor argumentation. So I want to push back on this idea and not to make a straw man of my opponent, those I disagree with. So we might even try to steel man their argument and try to see how we can improve their argument before we show how it's a poor argument or that they're incorrect in drawing out their conclusions. So you always want to do your best to try to understand what your opponent's saying, right? What are they getting at when they say that we shouldn't legislate morality? We shouldn't try to legislate our moral beliefs, let's say. You shouldn't do that. Well, I think a more clear-cut case might be that we shouldn't try to legislate religious beliefs, right? I think that would be a more clear-cut case. And that's something that we're accused of sometimes as well, like in the case of abortion. They will claim that we're just trying to legislate our religious beliefs in the public realm by passing laws, let's say, against abortion. You're just trying to legislate, you're trying to enforce basically your religious beliefs on other people by passing laws based on your religion. But is that what's really going on here? I think this is just some slippery language, some slippery rhetoric that's being used to belittle our position or diminish or dismiss our position. Now, if they were, it's always difficult to categorize our beliefs, right? Sometimes it's easy. Sometimes it's just black and white, clear-cut, obvious what a certain belief is. So, for example, the belief about baptism. Some people believe that you should baptize infants, right? Baptize babies. A lot of denominations do that. Catholics, Presbyterians, Lutherans, right? But then there's other denominations that say, no, you shouldn't baptize infants. You should wait until people grow up and are willing and able to make that decision on their own to become a Christian and to put their faith in Christ. And then after they put their faith in Christ, they should be baptized after that. So that, whatever your belief about baptism is, that would be one of those clear-cut situations where we could easily call that a religious belief, right? That is a clear-cut, I think everybody would agree that's a religious belief. And that is something that we certainly don't want to make laws about. That was the case in our history, right? In Europe, and even at first here in America, different states had different laws about specifically religious things like that, baptism and other things. But it was the Baptist, and I'm Baptist myself, but it was partially from the Baptists who were pushing back against that and saying, no, we don't want to baptize our children, and we think baptism should come later in life, and the government should not try to enforce certain religious beliefs or practices on us. And so Baptists were at really the forefront of the idea of separation between church and state. And I'm thankful for that. And I would be an advocate of that as well, a separation between church and state. I don't think the state, the government, should be enforcing, for example, clear-cut religious beliefs or practices like baptism. So it can be helpful at times to categorize or label different beliefs, and sometimes it's easy to do that. Sometimes it's obvious what category a belief should be put in. Other times it's not so clear-cut. Other times it's difficult to try to categorize your belief, right? So take, for example, abortion. right, which is the hot topic in the midst of this conversation. Is my belief about abortion being wrong, is that a religious belief? Is it a political belief? Is it a moral belief? Is it a philosophical belief? I'm not quite sure how to categorize that belief. Similarly, my belief that murder is wrong, or that rape is wrong, or that having sex with children is wrong. You know, I have those beliefs about those things, and therefore I think there should be laws against those things, laws against murder, laws against having sex with children, laws against rape, laws against abortion, because I see that as murder. I think there should be laws against those things because I believe those things are wrong and harmful to people. And people should be protected from those immoral things. And so I think laws should be passed to protect people in our society against having those actions taken against them. But are those beliefs, if I go out into the marketplace of ideas, let's say, and advocate for laws against rape, am I trying to legislate morality? Am I trying to legislate my religious beliefs? Now, my religion might inform me or help form some of the beliefs I have about what is right or wrong. But if I go out into the marketplace and try to get laws passed against rape, am I legislating my religion? I don't think that's the case. And I would maintain that's the same thing with abortion. When I go out and I advocate for, let's say, laws against abortion, it doesn't seem to me that that's trying to force my religion on others or my moral beliefs on others. So when I go out and advocate for laws against rape or laws against murder, it doesn't seem to me that that's trying to enforce my religious beliefs or my moral beliefs on other people. And the same thing I think is true when it comes to abortion. When it comes to these issues, it's not that we're trying to enforce our religious beliefs in the same way when we argue against rape or murder or laws against those things. And that's exactly what my opponents do, right? I mean, that's what folks who are more liberal politically are trying to do. They think certain things are wrong, let's say racism or hate speech, and some of those things I would agree with them, you know, that they are immoral to do, being racist, and so they have certain beliefs about what is right and what is wrong, and they're trying to have laws passed in accordance with their moral beliefs, but they wouldn't accuse themselves of trying to legislate morality. You know, let's say that there are a group of people who affirm racism, right? They could maybe stand up and say, look, why are you trying to force your moral beliefs on me? I think it's fine to be racist. Who are you to say that I'm wrong? Why are you trying to enforce your moral beliefs or enforce your religious beliefs on me? I mean, you could even take the crazy example like rape or having sex with children. I'm sure there are some people who would prefer that there weren't laws against those things. So when we, as the majority in society, conclude that having sex with children or raping people is wrong, are we somehow legislating morality, the majority? Are we legislating our morality on the minority who would prefer that rape not be illegal or prefer that sex with children would be legal? Are we enforcing our morality on them? Well, in a sense we are, right? But it's because we think that those things are grossly immoral, and we think they should be outlawed so that people would be protected for those things. So again, this is just slippery language, it seems to me, to try to diminish our position. When we go out and advocate that, let's say, abortion is wrong, there should be laws against abortion, this idea that, oh, we're just legislating our morality or we're just legislating our religious beliefs, it just seems like it's rhetoric to try to have our position diminished or belittled or dismissed. And I wish we could just be more honest with our conversations, right? Instead of just using rhetoric to try to smash our opponent, let's just have some honest debate. Let's just be honest and say, hey, we've got beliefs about reality. They could be true, they could be false, but we've got certain beliefs. We think they're true. You disagree, let's hear your reasons, why you disagree, we'll present ours, and let's just have a calm, rational debate instead of using all of this rhetoric language to try to dismiss each other. There are some people, when they make a case against abortion, or when they make a case that abortion is immoral, should be laws against abortion, they don't use their religious beliefs at all. Some of them don't even have religious beliefs. Some of them are atheists. They just think that abortion is immoral. They think abortion is wrong. And so there are folks who will argue against abortion using only philosophical arguments or only scientific arguments. So it's just not the case that, when we advocate for laws against abortion, that we're just trying to enforce our morality, enforce our religious belief on others. There's a lot of things that inform our beliefs. Yes, maybe some of our religious beliefs help us inform and come to certain beliefs about what is right or wrong, but so does science, and so does philosophy. So I think it's a mistake just to classify moral beliefs as merely religious beliefs. I think it's the case that we all think certain things are right, certain things are wrong. We might disagree about that. We might disagree about what's right and wrong, but let's have those conversations. We might disagree about what should be illegal. Should drugs be illegal? Should marijuana be legal or illegal? Is it immoral, or is it okay, morally okay to use marijuana? Let's have those conversations, but let's get past just using rhetoric and trying to belittle or dismiss each other by claiming that we're just trying to enforce our moral or religious beliefs on others. Certainly there are clear-cut cases of religious beliefs, like baptism, as we've discussed, and we don't want to enforce those sort of religious beliefs or practices through the legal system. But there are other things, clear-cut things, of course, like rape and murder, having sex with children, that we have moral beliefs on and should have laws against them. And that's how we're coming to the table when it comes to abortion. We think abortion is immoral, that it's murder, that it's wrong. And so let's have just frank, honest conversations about that. We can make our case why we think it's immoral. You can push back against it. But let's move beyond all this rhetoric of just trying to enforce our religious beliefs on others. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in to Convincing Proof today.